It's the Bulls Podcast, Episode 3.
Lucas trots to his right. Corver inside. Omer! He flushed it with the right hand.
Asik and destroy.
Corver with the assist and an offensive foul on John Wall.
I'll tell you right now, the Bulls showing a lot of heart, hustle, and muscle. That's what I'm talking about. You lose your best player with injury. Now watch Asik. He likes the barbecue. And McGee, I need your grill. Take that with you. Woo!
Welcome to the Bulls Podcast, coming at you from bullspodcast.com. We're the official podcast for the Chicago Bulls fan. And this is where we'll be bringing you the latest news, reviews, rants, rumors, and opinions on all of the players, coaches, and front office for the Chicago Bulls. My name is Marcus Couch, and with me is my co-host, Mr. Wyse Black.
Yo. What's up with all my Bull lifers out there, man? Hey, I'm proud to be here with my man Marcus. This is our third show for the Bulls Podcast, and I've been enjoying talking about the Bulls through all of them so far. So let's keep this thing rolling, brother. Let's go.
All right, we got a lot in store for you this episode, including the Bulls players showing up in force to Jabari Parker's Chicago basketball camp. Lauri Markkanen makes his return to Chicago, bulked up and pumped up for the new season. Viva la baloncesto! Yes, the NBA announces that the Bulls will play the Orlando Magic in Mexico City, and opening night is set for October 18th in Philly, and it's on TNT. You know what that means. You won't believe what the Vegas oddmakers are predicting for the Bulls this upcoming season. It might be time for me to head into the car and lay down some serious money on our Bulls. And we continue with our expectations for each Bulls player. Last show, we covered all of the guards, and this week we're going to be talking about all of the centers for Chicago. And Wyse and I have also come up with some excellent Bulls trades using the ESPN trade machine. We're going to get to all that right after this. All right, our first story up for today is the Bulls players showing up in full force to Jabari Parker's Chicago basketball camp. He just held his camp called the Jabari Parker Family Summer Basketball Camp in Chicago. But what he didn't expect was that a lot of his new teammates would be showing up to tell him what Bulls family is all about. They showed up to give their support and to mentor all the young hoopers in Chicagoland. He wore a huge smile as Bobby Portis, Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., Antonio Blakeney, and a bunch of others stopped in. The director of Bulls player development, Sean Respert, also addressed all of the campers as far as being good teammates. It was a great event all around. Jabari actually wore a camper t-shirt rather than a supervisor t-shirt on purpose, and he jumped from drill to drill, offering hands-on instruction at each station. He had this to say. He basically said, it's going to take some time to build chemistry with these guys and their relationship. And all of us being so young, it's something that's special and something that I'm very much looking forward to. I played with vets where it was just a one-sided relationship and all I had to do was listen and listen. It's different now because we can pick each other's brain because we're growing. You can't go anywhere but up because we're so young. A lot of us haven't established an identity. We just have a lot of hype. And it's up to us to make that situation good. What do you think about the whole Jabari Parker camp situation and how the Bulls teammates all showed up?
Man, like the Bulls teammates showing up, that was crazy to me. Like just because those kids, when you saw the looks on their faces, they were amazed just to see those players. But first and foremost, I think it's an awesome thing, what Jabari is doing for these kids. He's giving them the gift of being productive with their time because growing up in Chicago, like during the summertime, many kids have a lot of idle time, and living in this city, having too much free time can be detrimental to a child's future, depending on, their neighborhood and upbringing and all that. So I commend and appreciate him for his deeds sincerely because I wish I had someone like him on my corner when I was a child. To touch on just some of his quotes, just about team chemistry and developing an identity as a team, I thought he hit the nail on the head in terms of them growing together. It sounds like he understands that it's going to be a process and the time is going to take for them to gel. And he sounds like he's all in for being a team player and not putting his ego before the squad. So I can't wait to see what Fred does with no alpha dogs on the team next season.
Yeah, That is strange that we don't have really anybody that's, remember when Dwayne Wade came and he's like, yeah, this is Jimmy's team and it's this
Exactly.
team, and, the 3 alphas. Now we just got 5 betas. They don't really care, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't care. But I mean, I hope that they do kind of rotationally find somebody who can kind of step up game to game and all that when it comes down to it. But all right. In other news, they may have legal weed now, but Vegas odds makers are not high on the Bulls this season. They, they just released the win total projections for the 2018-2019 season. And it's safe to say that the Bulls were heavily underestimated. Jeff Sherman from the Westgate Las Vegas Sportsbook has the Chicago Bulls over under for wins this season at 27.5. In other words, the Bulls are projected to be no better than they were last year when they were actually trying to tank. To make things even worse, ESPN recently delivered the same dark prediction for the Bulls, claiming they won't even make the playoffs. So my question is, where can I place that bet on the Bulls wins? Because this is the best bet that I've ever seen.
I agree. Exactly, right? Like, okay, if I were a gambling man, and I'm not, but if I were, I'd put a nice penny down on the Bulls being over that projection, right? Like, to me, it seems they're underestimating not only the players, but the entire organization. Because for this team to be comprised of 5 lottery picks in their starting lineup, once Robin Lopez is gone or whatever happens, they must feel like the Bulls don't have an adequate basketball soul in the entire organization, like from players, coaches, front office to the ownership, like nada. Like, to project the Bulls to be the 3rd worst team in the league behind the Magic, the Nets, and the Knicks without KP, it's like giving us the middle finger, right? Like we were literally trying to lose last season and won 27 games. The Bulls aren't gearing up to be another lottery team, obviously, because of these moves they just made. So I don't know what else to think about this, but all I know is they're smoking. Like, even if you're not biased because this isn't your team, you have to see that the Bulls have too much talent to be that bad, especially in an even weaker conference compared to last season.
Maybe that's the play, right? Maybe it's going to be some sort of weird odds maker trick that they're all trying to play on us.
Maybe.
I don't know, but yeah, maybe there's people out there taking the under on that. What's the payoff?
I highly doubt that one. You know what? There might be some foolish people taking the under on that, but I say good luck to them. But them saying this is like saying the Suns would be 21-61 again. You know what I'm saying? Like they were last season. I doubt it.
Nah, with the number 1 draft pick and that one kid that goes crazy. Come on.
Exactly. But I'm saying that because of all of the talent we have on this team. But anyway, let's go. That's foolishness.
Yeah. Okay, next, the finisher is back. Lowry returned from Finland to Chicago, all pumped up, worked out. He's been getting it in, and it shows. Really looking forward to see how he improves this year. He did a ton of playing for the Finland national team over the summer. Clearly, I mean, without a doubt, looking like the best guy on the floor in every game that he played and every possession that he was in. He just had insane blocks. I mean, just dunks over 4 guys taken from the free throw line. He's back in Chicago with his new wife and child. Clearly, he's picking up the workouts right where he left off. He's super pumped. There was even Instagram of him and Raleigh rolling around, bringing savage life back to the Windy City. I can't wait, man. So what do you think of how Lowry Markkanen's been taking care of himself this summer?
Man, I just think it's awesome, man. Like, he's been doing this thing, like watching what he was doing in the summer, on the court, when he was playing in the FIBA World Cup games. It just showed me that the weight gain isn't going to be a negative effect on his game, right? Like, also, I hear that Hoiberg may try him at the center in spots next season. So I think the bulk will only help him to contain those bigger players on defense and on the glass. Not to mention, if he can keep his quickness up, he'll have a field day against slower bigs. I can see Stacey King using the old D Rose slogans for Lloyd. Too big, too fast, too strong.
Yeah. He uses that on everybody. But anyway, I'll tell you, I see something special in this kid this year. I think he might be an all-star. I don't know if they move him to center, but since you say that, I'm trying to think like what other center in the league besides like KP in New York could handle him. Like, okay, yeah, Anthony Davis,
Yeah, I was gonna say AD.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah. Joel Embiid, I think Laurie is faster than him.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know. Man, but it should be fun for sure.
We're going to go over the Bulls schedule and more right after this. All right, some of the Bulls schedule has just dropped, and we got some pretty interesting news. First, it's been announced that the Bulls will be playing the Orlando Magic in Mexico City on December 13th. The Bulls previously played in Brazil and China. Not sure how this one in particular will go over, as the NBA is trying to branch out and gain popularity on an international level. But it's really going to be interesting to see how Mexico City embraces not only the Bulls, but the Orlando Magic. Mm-hmm. That's pretty crazy. And then, you were just talking about Joel Embiid. NBA has announced some of the key dates of the 2018-19 schedule, including the opening week national TV games, Christmas games, and the Martin Luther King Jr. days. The Bulls actually will be on national TV to open the season on TNT against the 76ers on October 18th at 7 o'clock Central Time. So while the Bulls will return to TNT after a year hiatus, as we all recall, the TNT Bulls won't exactly be back because their ridiculous winning streak is just a home streak. But this will still be a fun way to tip off what's hopefully a much more enjoyable Bulls campaign. You're going to have Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and the Sixers as one of the East powerhouses right now. So the Bulls are going to get tested right out of the gate.
I think it's going to be a W the day of the TNT game.
Yeah. Even though we're away, huh?
Even though we're away.
Okay.
Bulls optimism all day. No, let me be serious. But I do think that it's going to be a good game. Like when I watched the Bulls play the 76ers last season, pretty much every game that we played against them, we went at it. We legit went at it with them. It was one game where like the Bulls gave the game away to them. I forget the date. Excuse me, guys, but if you watched every game last season, you know which one I'm talking about because it was a nail biter. The Bulls were up by like 3 with 20 seconds to go or something like that, but they just gave the game away. And with the acquisitions that we have, Jabari Parker and just some of the other key signings that we made, like not key, but the help that we have on this team, I think we're gonna be better despite the projection. But it should be fun, man.
Yeah, that projection's trash. I'm not even listening to that. So after I just said it here in the podcast, I'm not going to talk about it again until the end of the year when I'm going to call this sportsbook guy in Vegas and we're going to gloat.
When you're 20 G's richer. Let's talk about it.
All right. Well, I don't have that much to lay down, but, we're going to start a Patreon soon, so maybe we will. Who knows? But on win number 29, that's when I'm going to finger Vegas and say, yeah, there you go, guys. Who do you think is going to be the high scorer on that first game?
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Zach.
Yeah,
I think Zach LaVine is gonna do his thing, man. I'm really like having big faith in Zach LaVine, especially even watching what he's doing in the summertime and all that. He looks super motivated, so I'm going all in on Zach LaVine.
All right, I'll take that too, and I say Jabari scores at least 20.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a shocker for you: I bet AB scores 20
Oof.
Off the bench.
Please
off
do.
the bench. Yeah, he's gonna. I don't think he's played against Ben Simmons since he was on his 2-way deal, and now's his chance.
Great point. I bet he's just salivating to get at Ben too. They played on the same team together, right? At LSU.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Oh, yeah, he gonna go at it with him.
And Ben got all the accolades in the world, and AB didn't get drafted.
He ready.
So, all right, one more thing to do before we get into our trades and some of the evaluations. I just want to remind you, we do need your support in social media. We made it really easy to find us. You can just go to bullspodcast.com/social. Otherwise, here's how we figured it out for you. Just go to bullspodcast.com/Twitter for Twitter, /Facebook for our Facebook group, /YouTube for our YouTube channel, /Instagram for Instagram. Really easy to remember and really easy for you to take part in. So if you're listening to this show right now, there's plenty of time left in the podcast. Right now would be a really great time for you to follow us on all of those different channels and interact with us. We'd really appreciate it. All right, as we did last episode, we're going to continue our player evaluations. Last episode, we did all of the guards, and we received a lot of feedback and comments based on our evaluation, which is exactly what we were looking for out there, just to get some feedback from the audience that was listening. Some of us thought we were sleeping a little bit on some of the guards, and some thought that we were going a little too far. I know that one person in particular thought I was crazy about Archie Diacono as far as my evaluation. Hey, it is what it is, man. I'm just an evaluator. I'm not actually the one out there playing. So
there you go.
Just my opinion. All right. So today we're going to cover all of the centers, and we're going to start it off with Omer Asik. His salary right now is about $11.3 million. He is a 7-footer that was originally drafted in 2010 by the Bulls and was part of the bench mob that we were all huge fans of and loved. He played for a few seasons for us off the bench, and then he signed a huge contract with Houston. That was kind of the Bulls' first experience at the qualifying offer, little poison pill thing, and Houston kind of really screwed us on that. We actually thought that we were going to keep him, but they took him from us. He became a starter and surprisingly led the whole league in rebounds in the 2012-2013 season. But shortly after that, in 2014, he was traded to the Pelicans, where he finished out the season and then re-signed this monster 5-year, $60 million contract. His signing at the time was panned by experts. In fact, Sports Illustrated gave the contract an initial D rating, repeatedly criticized in the media, including Real GM actually calling the deal the least tradable contract in the NBA. He was only limited to 31 games in 2016 and 17 due to a bacterial infection that was later diagnosed as Crohn's disease. He then missed 8 months with the illness and lost 30 pounds as a result. Then the whole Nikola Mirotic, Bobby Portis trade drama happened from Bobby's right hook. And once again, Asik found his way back into Chicago via the trade. Back in the bench mob days, he was originally dubbed the Turkish Hammer and Asik and Destroy by Bulls commentator Stacey King. But since then, he's been back with the Bulls. It's been mainly Asik a spot to sit on the bench and watch the game. In his time with the Bulls last year, Omer played in only 4 games with a total of 15 minutes played during the entire season. So it's hard to determine where Omer will fit into the lineup next year. It's obvious that he's just riding out the last year of his contract and collecting a paycheck, but will he surprise us with a resurgence this year?
Well, absolutely not.
Oh.
Are you kidding me? Like, are you joking right now? I don't expect anything from him, which no one should. If anything, He needs to keep the seats warm and cheer on the team, and just stay in the seat all the way at the end of the bench so he doesn't get in the way. No one is going to take on Asik's contract from us without gaining something in return, as everyone expects. So I just expect him to be around all season, right? So his new nickname will be the Garbage Man, because that's the only time he's going to get tick. Legit. That's the
Turkish
only time
Garbage
he's
Man.
going to get and not even to bag on him like crazy, but I'm just saying, man, we all know what this is, as you said, man. He was here because we picked him up and got that pick. That's all.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, let's move on here. We're going to move on to Cristiano Felicio, number 6. He is also a center and a salary of $8.75 million a year. The Ringer just called Cristiano Felicio the most valuable tanker in the entire league. He hasn't played well with a single teammate that he shared the court with across a decent sample size. The big worry with Felicio is that he hasn't built on the skills that he showed the last few years when he arrived. He had this niche of kind of rim rolling as a big man and kind of was athletic enough to defend the perimeter on defense. When you look at him now, he really doesn't fit the profile of an ideal kind of modern NBA big man either. His shooting range doesn't extend out to the 3-point line like a lot of guys do, and he doesn't shoot it from mid-range at all. The defenders know this. They all watch game film. They know that if he's 10 feet out from the basket, he's basically going to shoot about 14%. That's it. He stinks anywhere outside the circle. It stinks. He doesn't even do much to protect the basket. Last year, he only had 0.2 blocks per game. For a guy making 8.7 mil a year and you don't even get a block a game, it takes you 5 games to get 1 block. I mean, the fancy footwork, all the lateral quickness that he showed when he was on a 2-way deal and playing with us is gone. So my question is, what will it take for Felicio to become a productive player, what the Bulls are paying him? At this point, he's just as untradeable as the Turkish garbage man, Amir Asik. The thing is, it's also this, okay? While I'm seeing the Instagram and social feeds of all the other Bulls players, and they're all bulking up, they're all hitting the gym, they're all playing pickup games, what do I see on Felicio's thing? He's just living the life, man. He's hanging out in Brazil, going to weddings, going to this, going to that. Not one mention, not one image, not one video of Cristiano put in the work. Not even a picture of a weight. Nothing. What do you think? What's it going to take?
No, man. That is not wholly true. Not wholly true. I saw him throwing a Frisbee at the Advocate Center.
I'm sorry. I take it back. Frisbee. Is that his next career? He's going to be a pro Frisbee golf player? What is it? Right?
He probably will be better at that. But in all seriousness, as for Felicio, I'm desperately hoping that he does improve next season. So bear with me. Like, just because he's so young and he's going to be on the team anyway, because, as you said about, the Turkish garbage, man, no one will take him off of our hands without a king's ransom in return. Plus, I don't think Robin will be around past the trade deadline next season. So who's going to play backup center? You guessed it, Felicio. So I have some goals for him. Number one, my goal is for him to work on that conditioning, meaning drop at least 10 to 15 pounds, practice the pick and pop from mid-range. That's old school, I know, but he ain't got a shot from 3 at all, ever in his career. I don't see it. Focus on using his frame to be a banger and get inside buckets. And on defense, if his conditioning is up to par, that should help him tremendously in terms of lateral movement, which he had before, jumping for boards, sticking to his man and all of that. So Felicio needs to focus on redeeming himself come next season because he's the next man up once Robin is gone. Sad to say.
It's like, I don't know if you've had this, man, but I've had people in the past that I've worked with that, got promoted to manager, start making the big money, and all they do is sit at their desk, right? They don't do nothing. And that's what this reminds me of. It's just he was back and forth into the D League or the G League, as they're calling it now, and kind of came back and proved his worth. And then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm just riding it out, man. I'm phoning it in. I'm getting my paychecks. And I can't imagine what $8.5 million a year will get you when you live in Brazil.
Oh, man. Man, he is a king over there.
I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe he's just like, all right, man, I'm just going to take my cash and I'm just going to retire and live the king's life in Brazil from the rest of my life. So, I don't know if you can waive a guy like making that kind of cash, but it just seems so bad that he's doing this. I hope he really picks it up. I really do. Because when he was playing good, I was really rooting for him, but he's just he's a prototype of a league that's gone by a long time ago.
He was one of those underdog players for me. That's why I was rooting for him when he was playing well. He disappointed us all, though.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Robin Lopez. Salary $14.4 million a year. Now, this is the one guy I have zero beef with on this team. He came to us via trade for Derrick Rose to the Knicks. And once he left, that also left the Knicks without a center, which brought them Joakim Noah over to the Knicks. And I bet we could maybe get Joe back in exchange for Felicio and Asik. What do you think? I don't know. We'll try that in the trade.
Sorry. No. Hell no. Excuse my language, but hell no.
No. All right. So, Robin, basketball is in his DNA. His brother Brooke also plays for our neighbors to the north, the Milwaukee Bucks. Last year, Robin played in 64 games, averaged 27 minutes a game, getting about 11.8 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block per game. Pretty good player. Recently, he was at Summer League in Vegas talking about what it was like to play with Lauri Markkanen and what his ceiling would be. And it seems like Robin would be a really great person to have on the team right now as the senior on board to help the young guys to find their role and sort of accentuate all of their skills as a player, sort of showing them the NBA ropes and the tricks and some of the things that you can get away with. He's on the last year of his deal, but it's very doubtful that the Bulls move him given the lack of production from either of the other 2 centers. So what do you think about Rolo this year?
Okay, despite me saying that I think he won't be here come the trade deadline, like I actually love Robin as the vet on this team because one, he's actually a young vet at the age of 29, I believe, and he's a serviceable center for this Bulls team. Like also, I believe he had a lot to do with Lauri's success last season as a rookie. He rarely makes mistakes. He's a good defender. He has a huge body for boxing out to grab boards and helping teammates too as well. He's a fun and loving guy, but I think he also brings toughness on the court, which this young Bulls team needs. Like, if the Bulls can re-sign him for a vet minimum come the 2019-2020 season, if he's not traded or something like that, I say why not? As long as Wendell Carter Jr. is the priority at starting center.
I'll take that.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. That does it for our center roundup. Probably the least lengthy in terms of evaluations for the Bulls. And right after this, we're going to come back with potential Chicago Bulls trades once again. And we're back. And just like last week, we're going to talk about potential Chicago Bulls trades for the 2018-19 season. Wyse, why don't you kick it off, my man?
All right. Now, the trade that I come up with, I think it's a pretty decent one. So, guys, just hear me out real quick. I think we should take Justin Holiday and send him over to Detroit for Stanley Johnson. My thinking behind this trade is both players are on a one-year deal, for each team, making around the same money. Detroit gets a proven veteran who can shoot, create his own shot a little bit, and play defense on the wing. The Bulls would be getting a 6'7", 245-pound legitimate small forward who is a project, but he's young at just the age of 22, and he's built like a freaking tank. I don't think Detroit is trying to be patient with him, just seeing how he's been in the league already for 3 years and he hasn't made any huge strides, just being an efficient player. He only averaged about 8.7 points per game, nearly 4 rebounds and 1.4 steals while shooting just 38% from the field. As I said, he's a project. But sometimes players just need a change of scenery, a la Chris Dunn.
And he's from Arizona. What does that mean?
Baby.
Savage life, baby. We keep talking about it. Oh, man. And by the way, he was an 8th pick. So he's a lottery pick, right? He's there. He was in the 2015 NBA draft. He played in 70 games last year.
Yeah.
So this guy's got some longevity to him. He's only 22 years old, as you mentioned before. I think this one might be a good trade, man. I hope they pull something like this off. We need to. Hey, Gar Pax, I know you're listening. Stanley Johnson. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Thank you, sir.
I like it. Okay, so here's what I got. Denzel Valentine to the Brooklyn Nets for their center, Jarrett Allen.
Oh, get out of here. That would be crazy. Now,
okay.
That would be crazy.
We talked about it. We evaluated every one of them. We need a center. Jarrett Allen is only a 1-year vet out of Texas. He's 6'11", huge upside when it comes to movement. He would definitely be the fastest center we have. He'd probably be even faster than Wendell Carter Jr. coming out of the gate. Mm-hmm. He's perfect for some pace and space basketball. I really think that he's got what it takes. 3-point percentage, 33%. Not terrible, but not great either. Okay. Mm-hmm. Last year, he played 72 games, 20 minutes a game, and he scored about 8.5 points a game. Not too bad.
Can work with that.
exactly the kind of guy we need as a backup center. I know we're a little backlogged with the garbage man and the other guy, but we'll make it work. So that's my trade. Jarrett Allen from the Brooklyn Nets to Chicago for Denzel Valentine.
You know what? That's actually a dope trade too. But I just don't see Brooklyn doing it because, as you said, he has crazy upside and he played pretty well for them last season too. But that would be awesome for us if we can get him. Laurie might not like it seeing that he boomed on him last year. Did you see that when he dunked all over Laurie Markman last year?
Yeah.
So they would have epic practices, man. Good trade.
Yeah. So that's it for the trades this week. But if you think you have a trade that could beat us, by all means, go to bullspodcast.com/3, and that'll be where you see all the show notes for this episode. And click on the ESPN.com trade machine link. Let us know what your trade is, and we'll see if we can feature it right here on the show. We'll be back right after this to close it all out. And before we go, I just want to remind you once again, go to bullspodcast.com/social. That's where you're going to find all the stuff in terms of where we are from social media perspective. That's where you can interact with both Wyse and I. Also, go to bullspodcast.com/subscribe to find out everywhere that you can subscribe to the show. Right now, we're still waiting on iTunes to approve the show. Don't know what their holdup is over there. It's been probably 2 weeks or so since we've done it. I'm going to ping him again, but I'll have that ready as soon as it's available on the site.
Come on, Apple.
And yeah, what's going on? Hey, and next week, we're going to be joined by the one and only C-Red Fred from the Chicago Bullseye podcast. And looking forward to that. We got a bunch of other Bulls podcasters that are going to be joining us. Our goal is to talk to every single Bulls podcaster there is and have them as a guest on our show before the season starts. So, Wyse, any closing thoughts from you, my man?
Like you said, for any Bulls podcasters or even fellow YouTubers such as myself, I really want all of us to link, man. I would love for all of us to, hop on a pod together and just do this great Bulls content, man. I really think that we can all galvanize together as one being Bulls Nation and make this thing happen, man. It could be epic. So, yeah, it's peace and love over here, man, at the Bulls podcast. And I'm really enjoying doing this show with my man Marcus. So it's another one in the books, baby. Let's go.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Until next time, go Bulls. What, no Go Bulls from you?
I already said another one in the books. Let's go. I was going to let you finish it.
What you saying, Go Bulls?